People, how's it going? I want to welcome everyone to another special, very important edition of Trends in the Housing Market. Yes, there is a lot happening in the housing market right now. There is a lot to cover. It is a blanket of information, depending on how you would receive it and accept. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. It is I, your humble servant, Mike Martins. I'll have open lines in a bit. First, I want to get to some articles that we need to cover. Today is November 2nd, 2017, and yes, happy Halloween to everyone. Happy belated Halloween to everyone. I want to thank everyone for tuning into last week's show. I got quite a bit of views on that last week's show. It was pretty good. Broadcasting out of Merritt, British Columbia. It's been, weather's been nice and crisp here. Nice, crisp weather we've been hoping to get from the very hot, muggy summer we got. I would like to thank our affiliates and different news media outlets and different places that are picking up this show. I would like to thank them too for using our information, or using my information and getting me out there. And someone just logged into the comment section. The comments are open on the right side here if you're watching us live. And one thing I want to mention is I'd like for you guys to get me out there. Unfortunately, none of my material ever comes up. It's because the way the algorithm is set, I guess, I don't understand. I guess what's happening is they don't want people to know what's happening with housing. It's like this huge undercover secret. I don't know why. You know, when someone's paying $4.5 million for a tear-down house, that should make front page news. You know what I'm saying? So that's something we need to get out there and maybe get the word out, because a lot of the mainstream media isn't covering anything. A lot of the people that should be informing us, the media is a watchdog. They should be telling us what's going on. They are telling us, but they're not informing us. You know, it's like, I know you speak English, but do you understand English? There's a big difference, right? So that's just my outlook. They're telling us, but not informing us properly, or not telling us what's happening. So there's so much to cover in the housing market today. And someone just commented here, said, I just became a real estate agent. I'm always conflicted when I watch your work. Well, I'm just kind of talking about what's going on here, right? And discussion, right? And guys, don't forget open lines. I need to keep it PG-13, and I also need to keep it on topic, guys. Let's keep open lines on topic for housing. We could do another show on Monday or Tuesday, Sunday or Monday for rants and lifestyle, and I'll have open lines soon. So let's kick off. I got a lot to kick off. And we're going to do a bit of shopping today. I put together something here for you guys. We're going to do shopping, and I'll explain to you later how we're going to go shopping today, and it's pretty cool. So this is my Living the Dream series. I really recommend for you guys to watch this series. It's really good. It's Living the Dream. It is a series that I have created myself and my family, talking about what is happening in the what happened in our lives, how we had to leave the big city to move to our house that we live in now. And someone's commenting on the story, and it's already up to go, buddy. It's ready to go. It's locked and loaded, ready to go. And then someone's asking me if I'm on Shaw. Shaw to Shaw long distance is free, but I have open lines. I'm using a Magic Jack. I want to thank the people over at Magic Jack for sending me that. I just got it in the mail at my store. I just got a package arrived. I'm like, for Mike Martins. I'm like, oh, okay, a sign. I open it. It's Magic Jack, and someone sent me a Magic Jack. And because I was asking people in a previous show, what should I use as a phone? But Magic Jack works good. I got people calling me from Texas, Los Angeles, from everywhere, Detroit, to give their peace of mind on what's going on. But don't forget to watch the Living the Dream series, guys. It's really good. It goes into how I sold my big business in downtown Vancouver, and how where I am today, and why I had to leave the big city. And I want to do that quick plug. And yes, it is here. Zero Hedge article was sent to me earlier today in one of the videos I made, someone made a comment with this link for me to read it. Don't forget, guys, to follow me on Instagram too. Just type in Mike Martins. I come up. Mike Martins Official. Because someone else is trying to be Mike Martins out there. Some guy from Brazil shouldn't do that, you know. But Mike Martins Official on Instagram. Follow me. Send me messages if you want, or links to. Just message me. I have no blocks on Instagram. Okay. So here's the biggest Ponzi scheme in human history. It's by Tyler Durden, and right now is Tyler Durden is a very important man. I don't know if you remember him, but he had some wise words, and he said, "The things you own begin to own you one day," and that's very true. Here's a story in a nutshell. This is really good. It gets to the point, and I'll get to it right now. Ultra low interest rate mark a shift away from people's wealth residing in their savings and pension plans, and into a so-called wealth residing in their homes, which are bought with ever-growing levels of debt. When interest rates rise, they will lose that so-called wealth. It's almost like a poem. It rhymes. And it says, it's a grand theft auto on an unparalleled scale. That is a fantastic way of saying it. It is grand theft auto on an unparalleled scale. And it's a piece of genius. Because while people are getting robbed in plain daylight, they actually think they're winning. But as I wrote back in March of this year, home sales and bubbles are the only thing that keeps our economies humming. And that's what I've been talking about every Wednesday when you tune in. Go back to 5 years where our economy is backed off housing. Housing is first, student loans, and unsecured debt, all that crap is what's funding or building our economy and keeping it going. Not production, not exports, not fabrication, not tax. Back in the day in the 1920s and 30s, taxing workers' wages was the best way for the government to make money. Not off property tax, but taxing workers' wages, because everybody was working at that time. We haven't learned much, learned a thing since March, and we haven't learned a thing for many years. People need a place to live, and they fall for the scheme hook, line, and sinker, which in a way is a good thing because the economy would have been dead without that ignorance. But at the same time, it's not, because it's temporary relief. Only at the end result will be all more painful for it. Wherever Yellen decides as per rates, or Draghi, I can't read that. It doesn't really matter anymore. This sucker is gonna down something awful. This is a global issue. Housing bubbles have been blown not only in the Anglosphere, English-speaking countries, though they are strong there. Many other countries have them as well. Scandinavia, Netherlands, even Germany and France. It's what ultra-low rates do. First, here's what I said in March. I did read that article back in the day. Zero Hedge is really good. A lot of mainstream media outlets like to downplay Zero Hedge a lot, which is not nice, because they basically get to the point. Tyler Durden's a great guy. Who doesn't want Tyler Durden as a friend, man? To hang out with, give you advice, giving you relationship advice, giving you, purchasing advice, giving you investment advice. Tyler Durden's the best, man. And this is what I've been saying for the last, 5 years. I went back to watch some of my first housing videos. They were interesting. I was a lot more vulgar and a lot more violent. Not violent, more aggressive at the time. I was kind of lucky I didn't get kicked off of YouTube. Okay, this is kind of important. Vancouver condo medium sale price nears 900 large. That's a problem, guys. 6.8 million Cole Harbour condo put on the market as condo sale prices continue upwards trend. A spectacular 1,500 square foot landscape garden roof terrace overlooking Cole Harbour and the North Shore maintains mountains. Sorry, maintains. Sorry, guys, I got a headache tonight, so I took 2 Advils. I got a headache, and I'm kind of blurred right now. Trying my best here for you guys, okay? North Shore maintains mountains. Reminds me of the time when I spelled trends in the housing market wrong. I called it trends in the hosing market. In the hosing market, yeah. Anyways, North Shore Mountains has a prime feature of Greater Vancouver's priciest new condo listing the week of October 9 to 15. Of 155 condos listed, Vancouver's multiple listing service that week, this 5th floor, 3-bedroom, 3,000 plus square foot condo was the most expensive at $6.98 million. You're buying air in the sky and you're paying property tax on no land. And you're paying strata fee to the mafia. What more better could you get? Despite that considerable price tag, there was 9 detached houses listed that same week, where even pricier, with the most expensive of these coming out of the market exactly 10 million higher, a whopping 16.9 million. That figure becomes even more jaw-dropping when you consider that this 1992 built first-story Shaughnessy mansion could use some serious updating inside. Turquoise carpets throughout the bedrooms, anyone? Not $16.9 million. Not pesos. 16.9 million pesos is still 1.6 million Canadian. So that's a lot of money. 118 Vancouver condos sold the same week, nearing the $900,000 mark at $899,000. That figure breaks down at $925,000 among 78 condos sold in Vancouver, the west side, downtown west side, east side. $717,000 large among the 40 units sold in Vancouver's east side, downtown east side areas. I don't know if you guys think this is normal, or if people are massaged into believing that this is the way it's going and that's it. We got lots of comments here. A lot of hi mics. Hi everyone back. Yeah, Tyler Durden. I'm gonna have lunch with Tyler Durden soon. Don't worry, guys. Someone's commenting here. I worked in Cole Harbour in Vancouver. I paid $28 a day for parking. Wow. Okay, wait, hold on a sec. 28 pesos a day or $28 a day? Wow. Let's move on. Just so you know, guys, later on we're going shopping. We're going shopping later for $4.5 million. I gotta show this to you guys. Let me zoom this in. It just looks like... I don't know if you guys saw the movie The Goonies. I don't know if you remember when they went to go see that old abandoned restaurant, and they ran up to it, and they were knocking on the door, and the Fratellis were in there doing something. I don't know if you guys remember The Goonies. This looks like the place from The Goonies, that kind of restaurant, that kind of look. And that reminded me of it. And then I read it up top. It said $36 million property sets new real estate record for North Vancouver. I saw Shaquille O'Neal's mansion when he was living in Miami. I think he's living back in Miami. I'm not too sure. When I was living in Miami, Shaquille O'Neal was playing for the Miami Heat. And if you saw his $1.8 million mansion, you wouldn't imagine, you wouldn't believe how beautiful, the beautiful palm trees going inwards, the entrance, the gated area, under $2 million. If you see that property, tennis courts, everything. And $36 million property sets new real estate record for North Vancouver. $36 million. That's incredible. A North Vancouver property listed for sale, $36.2 million, has set a new real estate record for the municipality. Sotheby's International Real Estate Company listed a 14-acre estate located at 2,250 Indian River Crescent in Deep Cove. This North Vancouver estate provides opportunity to own the most significant private parcel of land in one of the most robust real estate markets in Greater Vancouver, and situated next to the North Shore Mountains. The vast property features 9,000 square foot home with 4 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, is a blend of West Coast architecture and Japanese influences. The architecture. So it's somewhat of a Japanese influence. That's where I'm trying to figure out. The property also includes a guest house, private gym, and a working 12-stall barn and greenhouse. According to Sotheby's, property nestled within a forested setting and features lush foliage of both native and specimen plantings. The property is the highest value listing in the history of the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver's multiple listing service for North Vancouver. Holy smokes. This is huge. This is coming from us from CTV News, Talk Shop Media. A photo provided by them. Thanks, guys. What do you guys weigh in on that? That's, it's not what I imagined what a $36 million property would look like. I guess if you like nature, if you like nature. We're going to bump over to Toronto real quick. Toronto is the new home to over 896,000 mortgages. Do you know what this means, people? That people are leveraged to the... How can I say this non-vulgar? People are leveraged to the tits. 896,000 mortgages. That is what is fueling the Canadian economy. That's just Toronto. Toronto's real estate had a huge run in prices, and it's taking its toll on ownership numbers. New Census 2016 numbers released from Statistics Canada give us a little more insight into ownership and the mortgages that go with them. While the rest of mortgages is on the rise, the rate of homeownership is on the decline. Why? Because you have, 100,000 empty units in the Greater Toronto area? Of course it's on the decline. All these empty vacant units owned by investors. The rate of homeowners with a mortgage rises to 63.2%. The rate of homeowners with mortgages is rising across the Toronto CMA. Census 2016 recorded 1.357 million homeowners, of which is 63.2% had an outstanding mortgage at the time of the survey, May 2016. This is up to 1.62% from the previous census 2011. Not a huge surprise since the cost of homes jumped 49% in the same period. Only natural that people would have to borrow money. So what's happening? How are these people servicing their debt? They're buying their food on credit cards. I've been talking about this. People are taking, someone's asking in the comment section, is it like New Zealand? I saw that earlier. Is Vancouver like New Zealand? Yes. Basically, every English-speaking country is experiencing this. London, the UK, Canada, even the United States is experiencing on the West Coast, gateway to the West Coast of the United States, all the way from Tacoma, Washington, all the way to Tijuana border. San Diego is experiencing this influx of price hikes. California, like I said, has this massive exodus. Huge. You remember Bob Marley? Exodus. It's the movement of the people, and this is what's happening. People are moving to greener pastures, and I just wanted to put that out there because it's happening a lot. I got a lot of people emailing me, which I'm going to read an email in a bit before I open my lines here. Next. Toronto real estate prices increased 8% for each percent increase of population. So Toronto's population is increasing, but they're trying to keep up with the demand, the supply, but if there's 100,000 or 99,800,000 empty units, you just won't do it. And the empty units, they shouldn't be counting that in as mortgages, and the empty units shouldn't be counted as units because they're completely don't exist, because you can't live in them and you can't buy them. So they have to factor in proper numbers, like these better dwelling and all these sites. Toronto real estate prices are being pushed higher by supply to an extent. Real estate agents would have you believe that this is not only the factor driving prices higher. Meanwhile, NIMBYs would have you believe that it plays no part in pricing. As always, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Supply is a contributing factor to prices, but the scarcity of the supply in Greater Toronto area and the GTA is greatly overstated. And like it's saying here, that nobody ever comments on the 99,980 empty units. Here's the percentage change. So this is population versus dwelling versus price from 2011 to 2016. Look at that, prices. Population, dwellings, okay? And then prices. Look at that. Woo! It's almost like a joke. It's almost like, is this for real? Is this an illusion I'm reading here? But it's true. It's happening. And it's really tough. Remember, people keep asking me, when is the crash happening, Mike? When is this happening, Mike? When do you think it's a safe time to buy in? Should I buy in, or will I be permanently bought out of the market? I'm not an advisor. I don't know nothing. I can't even read. But what I could tell you is that there's going to be a correction. Because the Canadian proper, they're bought out of the market. They're finished. Okay? And when I say Canadian proper, stop messaging me, telling me I'm a racist or whatever. Canadian proper is someone that comes from all over the world, people that come from all over the world, that pay taxes, that send their kids to school, that make Canada their home, that make, that contribute to society, work, attend meetings and part of people's lives and networking. That's what the Canadian, Australian, New Zealand proper is. Someone that contributed to the infrastructure by paying taxes, someone that contributed to production by working, someone that contributed to, that's what I'm talking about. Canadian proper's finished if they don't find a way to correct this. Now, this is a really good one I wanted to add to you, actually wanted to put up, is U.S. housing bubble never less affordable. So there's a lot of tags on this. It's by D.H. Taylor. Writes some really good articles. So this is a Seeking Alpha market news. Summary: adjusted for inflation, home prices have quadrupled in value since 1940. That's actually not bad, quadrupled. Because in Ontario and Toronto, some other cities, and New Zealand, houses since 1940, I think, went up 13, 14, 16 times, right? And median income versus medium home prices are pushing the DTI maximums. And in major cities, home affordability is far more difficult. And I'm thinking major cities are the ones along the coast. I think the West Coast. Okay, you're not going to believe me when I tell you this. Straight up, you won't believe me when I tell you this. You're going to call me a liar. One of the hottest housing markets in the United States, tenfold, that's gone up beyond expectation, beyond astronomical numbers, is Tacoma, Washington. Right on the Canadian border. Tacoma, Washington is so red hot right now, you wouldn't believe the cost of living there right now, how it's happened in the last year. Since the Vancouver passed that foreign buyers tax or whatever, Tacoma just exploded. Seattle, a lot of the real estate agents in Vancouver went down to Seattle to help the Seattle real estate agents get their clients in there and show them different properties to buy. Now, Seattle's overinflated. Seattle's crazy. It's got the tech companies there. It's got a lot of people living off credit cards. It's beyond anything anyone could imagine. And someone's commenting here. I can see Canada from my house. Thanks for thanks to the wind farm ripoff. And someone else is commenting, I like the California Central Coast, but the prices are the same as LA. A person commenting there, Mark86, can you comment on the comment section and let us know, are there a lot of people leaving California? Because I hear it a lot on talk radios. I hear it a lot in the news. I hear it a lot from friends. Are there a lot of people leaving California? Because I heard it's crazy how many people are leaving California. So this is the U.S. Here's a graph here that gives you the U.S. National Home Price Index from 1975 all the way up to 2016 here. Decent article. Talks about land values, debt to service ratio, total debt service ratio, what people are getting in over their heads. Old news, but important to cover. Now, this is an important article I need to cover for you guys. You guys need to hear this. It's amid the housing crisis in New Zealand to ban foreign buyers. So New Zealand last week passed a law that they're not, so the law will be taking effect in 2018, would apply only to existing home purchases. Okay? So they don't want foreign investors coming in and buying because the New Zealand proper has been totally bought out. And the problem when the New Zealand proper gets bought out, they're not paying taxes anymore into the system because they can't find a job because they can't afford to live in an area where they're hiring. I don't think Tyler Durden couldn't have not said that any better. New Zealand will ban foreigners from buying existing houses stock in the beginning of 2018, said the newly elected Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on Tuesday. During her second meeting with the Cabinet of New Zealand, she and her senior ministers of parliament agreed to restrict foreigners from buying homes as a way to curb speculation in the country's real estate market and address the nation's housing crisis, Ms. Ardern said in a statement on Tuesday. The ban will not apply to Australians, as many New Zealanders live and work there, and vice versa. During the campaign, we talked about our plan to fix the housing crisis. An important part of that plan is banning foreign speculators from buying existing homes here, Ms. Ardern said in a statement posted on her social media accounts on Tuesday. We believe that housing is a right, she added. Legislation will be introduced by the end of the year as part of the country's Overseas Investment Act, and once approved could be amended or replaced in the future. New Zealand has seen property prices soar over the past decade. In Auckland, the median housing price jumped nearly 7% in the past 5 years. New Zealand dollars 845,000 is 578,000 American, according to the data from the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand. Recent quarters have seen some prices stabilize, but inventory in places like Auckland, New Zealand, largest city, remaining incredibly tight, according to the report last week by industry analyst Informatics. The Auckland market remains grossly undersupplied, and the Garthen Kieran, chief forecaster, in the report, it will take many years for region's shortage of 42,000 dwellings to be addressed. Some industry experts are not convinced the ban will make a meaningful difference. Several real estate agents told Radio New Zealand that foreigners are a small fraction of the market, with some suggested as low as 1%. Okay, like I said in one of my videos a couple of weeks ago, if foreigners are 1% of the market, then this is not going to offend anyone because they're not the problem. But it's good to put it in place and see measures, right? Just like when Vancouver, they said that the foreign tax they put in Vancouver said it wasn't, stop picking on the foreigners. It's not BAM. They put the tax on, everything plateaued. Sales just plateaued, ripple, and now everything's going back up still. So my Dylan, increasing immigration to 1 million over 3 years. And I'm going over the comments here, people. Sorry. Haven't been jobs in rural Ontario forever. People continue to pile into California. San Diego is the same price as LA, though. A much better family town. Okay, thanks for the feedback. Mia has just tuned in. She says, they always lie about the amount of foreign buyers. And then Harry also commented, said, yet they have brought in programs to fast-track new immigrants into jobs in the same rural areas. And let's continue here. So this is the problem. If it's not, I think this New Zealand project, we'll call it the New Zealand project. If this New Zealand project, let's say it works out, they put it into place, it takes effect. We'll continue watching my show. I'll continue following it. And then we will discuss and see how the trend changes. If the trend continues, say 6 months after, then we know for sure it has nothing to do with foreign speculators. We know for sure. But if you start seeing sales stagnant, people walking away from mortgages, houses for sale for up to a year and no one's buying them, 400, 500 days on the market, then we know that it was the foreign investors. We don't know, and there's no way to gauge it. This way, if they put, unless people find a loophole. I don't think you want to find a loophole when you're basically kicked out of the market. It's almost like trying to buy in, I don't know. I'll keep you posted on this story because I think, to me, this is a very important New Zealand project here. I call it the New Zealand project. I just said that. I think it's a cool name. We'll kick it off next year and see what happens. Okay, people living in Sydney, some good news. Sydney housing prices fall for the second month as market cools. 2 months in a row, Sydney housing prices fell for a second month in October, adding to signs of Australia's biggest property market is cooling. Home values in Australia's largest city declined 0.5% last month, following a 0.1% drop in September, according to CoreLogic Inc. data. Released Wednesday, nationally, prices were unchanged, with the fall in Sydney, Canberra, and Darwin offset the gains in Melbourne, Brisbane, and Hobart. Seeing Sydney listed alongside Perth and Darwin, where dwelling values have fallen since 2014, is a significant turn of events, said Tim Lawless, CoreLogic's head of research. The slowdown in the pace of capital gains can be attributed primarily to tighter credit policies, which have fundamentally changed the landscape for borrowers. That's a good thing that Australia is putting measures into place, because the free money party is over, because the working poor has to pay it off. Okay, let's see what we got here for comments. Lots of comments, man. And then let's continue here. So before we go shopping, guys, we're going to go shopping today. This is really good. I have an email. Let me see where it went. Right here. So I got an email, and it's a really good one. That was sent to me. I get emails every day, so you can email me if you like. Someone just commented here. Finding accommodation in Vancouver, British Columbia is difficult. It definitely is. Now, with everyone doing Airbnb, I don't know if that's still legal or illegal. And I don't know what's going on with that. I'll probably bring it up on next Wednesday's show. So anyways, I'm going to open lines. I'm going to do some open lines in a bit when we go shopping. People can call in and help me do some shopping. I have been subscribed to your channel for around 3 to 4 months now. The first video of yours I watched was the top 10 reasons why I left Vancouver video. I subscribed and I tend to watch most of your videos. As a longtime player of board games, I really loved your How to Build a Business series. It's a series on my channel if you want to watch, guys. Welcome to watch. After seeing your recent video about Seattle and Vancouver being quite similar, and the video on the London housing crisis, I thought I would email you my own thoughts and my experiences about the UK housing crisis and life in general. I am a blank-year-old teacher. I don't want to get into specifics. With a politics undergraduate's degree, a master's in journalism, and a master's in education. The master's you need to be able to teach. It was not my intention to become a teacher. I had always wanted to be a journalist or work in some sort of media agency. During my master's year, I applied to over 145 graduate, it's not schemes, it's, I think you spelt it wrong. It's a thing where basically you apply and they help you build some sort of work rapport. In the UK, around 75% of the graduates schemes, it's not schemes, it's, I forgot the name of it, someone told me earlier, sent me the typical rejection letter. Willist 14 or so invited me into interviews. Willist at interviews. It was often the case of 100 to 200 young professionals, all with the same types of grades and experiences looking to fill one position. But the graduate crisis is a topic for another day. In the UK, the typical starting salary... Okay, guys, if you've been just having me in the background, I really, really need you to pay attention to what I'm going to say here. This took me for like... Really? In the UK, the typical starting salary in the UK for a graduate is around £18,000 to £22,000 a year. That equates to £1,300 to £1,500 a month after tax. Okay, guys, do you know what that is for a professional to make £1,500 a month after tax? Do you know what that is, people? £1,500 a month is like 2,200 Canadian or 2,500 Canadian a month for a professional that has a master's degree, and that's what they kick you off at. You get kicked off at 50, or you start off at £1,500, 13 to £1,500 a month after tax. Unfortunately, most of the jobs for graduates in the UK are in London. I know my friends who have started working at large firms, working in the civil service, or working in the media, who have moved to London and live on that wage. Their tales are harrowing. Many are forced to house share with 4 or 5 other working professionals in a 5-bedroom house or flat. A number of friends also cannot afford to live in the greater London area, with many living outside the boundaries and spending a good, listen to this, people, £5,000 to £6,000 on a year on season ticket for trains. So basically buying a year pass for the train, £5,000 to £6,000. That's like $8,000 Canadian. This is that's for transit. I hope he's got like a champagne and someone playing a violin next to him, and dim lights, foot massage. £5,000 to £6,000 a year for trains and buses, which take up to an hour or an hour and a half. Again, referencing on my commuting videos. In terms of my own experiences, the UK education system is currently in a crisis, with 54% of newly qualified teachers leaving after 2 years due to the extreme working conditions, lack of funding, changes in the curriculum, and attitude of the children. But again, that's a video for another time. I applied to become a teacher and go through another year at university and getting another master's because teaching is relatively a pretty well-paid job. Newly qualified teachers can earn between £22,000 and £28,000. Once again, about 35,000 Canadian. Whilst heads of department or heads of year can get a significant increases, plus government give me free bursary to train and teach. Due to the shortage of teachers around the country, I could not choose where I wanted to be placed, and that was placed randomly. I was placed in Coventry, the 8th largest city in the UK with a population of 300,000. Oh, and despite having a degree in politics and a master's degree in journalism, instead of teaching a suitable topic like English or history, I was asked to become a geography teacher due to the shortage of staff, despite having last studied geography at age 18. Moving here and trying to find a place to live was almost impossible. Most of my options were house shares with other working professionals or students, and I viewed almost 35 houses slash flats owned by private landlords that did not look habitable. I decided to live alone just because I didn't want to live with random people and I felt I could be more productive that way. In terms of my own housing crisis, I am currently paying £700 a month for rent for one bedroom, new built studio apartment, which has a joint bedroom, kitchen, living room area. Furthermore, I also spend $30 a month on water bills, £40 a month electricity, £25 a month internet, £145 a month on council tax, whatever. I think that's a strata fee, I guess. That means I pay $945 a month to live in a tiny studio apartment by myself. That leaves me with roughly £500 a month to live on. And that's before I add in car insurance, car tax, petrol, food shopping, and other surprises like meals out or going to a concert or a sports game. So that's the part where people are buying that part off credits. You go to the bank, they test your TDS, and they say, well, you fit, but they're not, your TDS just fits, you're really tight, you can make your mortgage payments, but they're not factoring in car insurance, cell phone bills, food, blah, blah, blah. They never factor that into your total debt service ratio, and that's a big problem. And then, although my commute isn't too bad, 20 minutes by car, despite having one of the most important jobs in society, educating our children of the future, I often find myself living paycheck to paycheck, most of the time being in my overdraft the last week or two of the month. The chances of me being able to save any income and look to apply for mortgage for one actual home are slim to none. Without assistance from my parents who were just about to enter their 50s and still have $70,000 left on a mortgage to a house we live in since 1996. In terms of personal relationships, I also agree that trying to find a suitable partner is also becoming quite a challenge. No one meets anyone anymore, at least in the UK. And in the age dating apps like Tinder or his blank-year-old professional like myself, who is 5'11" and quite slim, can go weeks or months without getting a match on Tinder. And when you do eventually get a match, the conversation quickly fizzles out. I think the entire fabric of Western society, with regards to healthcare, pensions, government handouts, education, housing, homelessness, is reaching a breaking point. It is only a matter of time before we are swept back into the days of Great Depression, where most Western societies have shantytowns. Anyways, love your videos, and it's nice to see how well your business and family are doing in merit. I just felt compelled to email you my thoughts. Kind regards. So, if you guys want to email me, you can. I would be more than happy if you want me to be anonymous about it. I messaged him back. He never got back to me, but I left him out. I left his name out, left all the information out that was pertinent to him, and just kind of read it because I think that's a really good story to share with you guys. Let's do a bit of open lines if everybody wants to call him. Now, we got to stay on topic housing. I promise on Monday or Sunday, I'll do some rants and lifestyle, and we could call in and talk about Donald, and we could talk about all the stuff that's happening, and we could talk about everything you want to talk about. PG stuff, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, we got our phones on. So if anybody wants to call in to add to this, please go ahead. Don't be shy. We're good to go here. Perfect. So lines are open. 1-250-800-1498. I'm going to continue shopping. And you're probably wondering, what the hell are you talking about? We're going shopping today, people. Today, I saw a teardown. Motivated seller taking any offer. Selling a teardown. The house needs a roof. The foundation is got several cracks in it. It's pretty bad. Okay. And he's asking $4.5 million. I don't want to put a picture of the house because I don't want to get in trouble, you know. Even though it's fair game, it's it is advertised to the public to sell. It is like it's public knowledge. It's public. It's out there. People get really, really pissy when you tell them, you know, this is news. $4.5 million for a teardown is news, you know, and don't think you're building a low-rise condo there or it's enough land. No, you could rebuild pretty much the same 4-bedroom house. So we're going shopping for $4.5 million. And okay, another choice, accept lower standard of living, the one which is on developing third world countries, rent room instead of a house or apartment, live with wife, children in a tiny 1-2 bedroom condo. Anyways, if you work IT, healthcare, engineering, you can afford LA. Yeah, well, yeah, IT, I guess. So we're going shopping, guys. Let's go shopping. So went through a couple of websites. I even made a few phone calls to confirm things. So $4.5 million, you have to see this place. It's got 2 boarded windows. The roof is caving in. It's got a ton of cinder blocks in the front yard. I don't know why they're there, because the house isn't even torn down. So let's start off. So what can we shop with? 4.5 million bucks in hand. So I started with this. This is a beautiful, let me zoom this in for you guys. It's a Bombardier Learjet, a 31A, priced at $995,000. I called the guy, I actually called this guy today. I'm like, is that plane still for sale? He's like, yeah. What if I walked in there with 900 grand? Would he sell it to me? He's like, probably. So anyways, that's how, yeah. Anyways, we're going to start off. I got my calculator on the side. So the teardown for $4.5 million, and we're going to tally up a couple of $1 million in purchases to see which is better. I wish I could show you the house. I just don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So we'll start off with this jet. It's really nice. I don't know much about airplanes, but it looks like something I would like to travel in with my family privately. I asked about pilot. The average pilot, you can get a really good pilot. This plane you do not need a co-pilot from what I was told. And a plane like this would cost, basically a good pilot would cost you about $65,000 a year. So we're going to take we're going to take the $995 and add $65,000 to this purchase. So we could have a thing, and we're going to add $45,000 for fuel for the year. And so this is amazing. So this is basically what we start with. Look at that. That's amazing. It's like Flight Simulator. So we're going to put this on our list of things to buy. Look at that. Okay, secondly, you need a daily driver. I chose this. $27,200. 1969 Camaro Rally Sport. Convertible. And it's in Alabama. So this would be my daily driver. Clean. Sounds good. I don't know if you guys saw John Wick, but it sounds like one of those cars from the beginning. It's got a 327 in it, turbo fire. Really good car. That's my daily driver. Then I'd get this for the wife. Like 30 grand. Just take the kids, go play hockey or something. And that's another thing I would add in my shopping list. So $4.5 million teardown, or the items I have displayed in my shopping cart here. Let's keep going. You're going to like this one. This one's good. The Grand Cru, $870,000. Built in 1984, the Grand Cru measures 100 feet in length. Aluminum-built motor yacht, boasts the classic elevated pilot house, a very attractive feature for just $870 grand. Grand Cru underwent major upgrades several times, and this is beautiful. So that's what I would add to my cart. Okay, it's a beautiful yacht. I think it's fantastic, and I think you would need someone to help you drive the thing if you're not really experienced. I wouldn't drive that on my own, but that's something. So we're adding that to the shopping cart. Okay, ting ting. And last but not least, a place to live. And don't crucify me. Don't crucify me. If I'm gonna buy a second house or another house outside of this one, I'm gonna pick one up in Portugal. So I found this house in Portugal. It's in Albufeira. It's in the beach district. I love how it has a bunch of screen doors and sliding windows and everything. And the house is 9 bedrooms, 7 baths, 8,697 square feet on half an acre. You're paying $96 per square foot. And I'll show you some pictures of the house here. Bedroom, bedroom, ensuite, another bedroom, 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 one of the kitchens, another living room, nice view. I think that would be good for me and the family. Look at that outside. Look at the gardens. Look at those gardens. It's got a pool too. Let me see if it's got a shot of the pool. I don't think it has a shot of the pool. It does say it has a pool. No, there's no shot of the pool. It's got a nice pool. Oh, there it is. Oh, right there. Right in front of the house. There's the pool. Sorry, guys. So that's the house I would jump into for 838,000 American to about $1.1 million Canadian. So that's my shopping cart. Okay. And this is what the Algarve looks like. I've showed you guys in previous videos. This is the Algarve right here. It's a very secluded part of Portugal. It does have nightclubs, but there's a lot of places still that you can mountain bike to and be a part of. Like beautiful sunsets, lots of coral rock, beautiful beaches, pretty much all year round. Lots of hotels too, these kind of resort hotels for golfing and stuff. Anyways, this is the little bit nightlife that goes on there. And this is my favorite part when I go to Portugal. It's these beach parties they have. It's, you know, and it's phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And okay, so someone's commenting, what is the yearly taxes and maintenance on such a house? On a house like this, property tax in Portugal is it's not that high. It's very low. Because I know my dad still has a place there, and my uncle still has a place there, and friends I know live there still. And they're not crying about property taxes. Maintenance, they have a solar panel thing that the government's issuing for getting solar panels, that they actually give you a percentage back. They passed this law like 4 years ago because Portugal went off grid for 5 years. Off grid, the Portugal went 5 days off grid this year, early this summer, and they set a world record, going the entire country 5 days. So the Portuguese government is offering grants for solar panel, and if your house goes completely off grid, you get some sort of like package, like a thank you and a little bit money back, actually, if you could make your house completely off grid and non-dependent on the system. So that's another thing that they have going there. They legalized drugs, drug use went down, that everything. Portugal is like everything when it comes to innovation and putting things together. But now, what did that put me up to? That's with the pilot, fuel. That's with like food for friggin' 10 years. $2.825 million. $2.825 million. And if you want to add a bit, because the U.S. current, well, I did convert some of it, but let's say $3 million all in. So $3 million all in would get you this jet with a pilot for 1 year and 40,000. Was it $30,000 worth of fuel, which I was told is way more than enough fuel you would need. Like, that's if you're flying like 4 times a week. That's what I was told. And I think people are forgetting, like, so why am I showing you this? You're probably wondering, why are we looking at this for? Why? I'll tell you why. People would look at that sitting on the tarmac and say, I can't afford that. Where the hell am I going to get money to buy that? They're not looking at the houses and saying the same thing. They're brainwashed or basically thinking how, oh, I could work hard. I got lots of life left ahead of me. My wife's got lots of life. I work 2 jobs. She works 2 jobs. We could pay off that $4.5 million teardown. We could pay that off. Interest is cheap. We're only paying $4,300 a month on a teardown. I think that's great. But stand on that tarmac and look at that plane, and you tell me if you could afford that plane. Because if you can't afford that plane, you can't afford that house. Plain and simple. So this is what I do. I mean, I'll be very frank with you guys. I would, honestly, if I came into $4.5 million, just like that, would I invested in a teardown? Would I even invested in 2 condos, 3 condos? No way. Buy that plane. You could probably sell it for the same price a year later or 2 years later. You could probably get the same price for it that you bought it for. And then back to our Camaro here. Yeah, this is a nice Camaro. It's a nice Camaro. I think Camaro was a really nice car. I think it's a great daily driver. There's a couple other ones here. There's this one. This one's got 1,000 miles on it. I don't believe it, but you know, most people will stand there and look at that car and say, "I can't afford that car, Mike." Okay, then why are you buying a house that's way beyond all these items together? There's the wife's car. There's the yacht. Look at that. It's fantastic. Look at that thing. So you stand on that dock. So if you're thinking to buy into the market, you stand on that dock. Look at that boat. Walk alongside it. Touch it. Look inside the windows. Ask to come aboard. Look around. Tell yourself, can I afford to buy this purchase? 99% of people would say I can't. It's not because I'm not saying live your dreams and do this. No. It's because people are foolishly stepping in to things. See, if you buy this and you go bankrupt, you could auction it off, you could write it off. But if you go bankrupt on a mortgage, you're in a lot of trouble. They'll follow you, they'll hunt you down, it's so hard to get out of a mortgage, especially in the UK, especially in New Zealand. Getting out of a mortgage in those countries. Woof. I know the US, you can hand over your keys and say, I'm not paying for a house worth less than what I bought it for. Look at that house in Portugal, man. Portugal's amazing. Speaking of Madonna bought a house there 3 weeks ago. So somebody's commenting, people do not buy planes, yachts until they have the basic needs fulfilled. Food, shelter, house, health, safety. Yeah, no, I get it, 1,000,000%. But we're talking here like you rolled into $4.5 million. Okay. Would you buy a teardown? Or would you buy these 5 or 6 items I showed you for $2.8 or $3 million? That's the question, right? Bang for your buck isn't there. It's just not there. And then not only that, it's people can't afford these things, but how can they afford to buy a $4.5 million house? That's what I'm trying to get to. So basically, yes, people do not buy planes and yachts until they have basic needs fulfilled. Food, shelter, yes. But for people that understand exactly what I'm trying to say here, wow. That's nice. It's got cup holders too. Look at that. Imagine. Yeah, we hired a pilot for a year for like 50 grand and it's got a good salary and taking us around, checking things out, flying over, putting on hey, call the pilot from the back. Hey man, come back, put it on autopilot, come back and party with us. It's like, holy crap. If you're not foolish with your money, you could live a good life. But I think if you step in to a problem you're going to have a really hard time getting out of, it could be a lifelong disaster. Anyways, guys, we're approaching the 1 hour mark. No one's called in. Yes. So luxury is relative. Mansions are just as unnecessary. So what I'm trying to say is $4.5 million, sorry, $3 million buys you all this stuff. People are buying $4.5 million houses they can't afford. That's what I'm getting to. They're slaves to that. And I hope you guys understand what I'm getting to with this. In the comments below, let me know if you buy this 5-package deal. The Camaro, the minivan for the wife, the yacht, and the house. Let me know if you guys get that, if you guys will pick up this package deal or the $4.5 million teardown. You know, thanks, Mike. You are one of the few who speaks up. Hold on, someone's calling me, man. This is from 604. Hello? You're on the show.
Mikey, I just watched the show here, man.
Hello?
Hey, Mike.
Yo.
Hey, it's Hiroshi. I'm just watching your show here.
Holy smokes. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I was just in Powell River, and yeah, man, you're talking about housing, right?
I always talk about housing.
Yeah. So
hold on.
because I was asking people about houses there.
Uh-huh.
Actually, Powell River is a pretty good place. I'm thinking like that might be an option. Get a nice house there, like on the water.
How much your house is in Powell River?
On like the nice ones that are right by the water, like really nice, like ones that would sell in Vancouver, like 3-4 million.
Mm-hmm.
A house like that's like 500,000 in Powell River right now.
Yeah, it's 500,000 there for a nice waterfront property, right?
Yeah, like waterfront, like nice, like 2-story garage, like everything. Million around there. And if you're okay with getting a fixer upper or like maybe something on the outskirts of town, like get a decent place for 200,000.
Yeah, you can still get a place for 200,000 up in Powell River. Yeah, for sure. But for the people tuning into my show, Hiroshi is one of my best friends. I've known him for almost over a decade now, and he travels around the interior of British Columbia a lot, and he has a very good insight of what's happening with this housing crisis.
Like Vancouver's crazy.
Oh, did you tune into the first article I read?
Yeah, I was reading that. North Van, right?
Yeah, that. Do you know? I don't know if you know, but I saw Shaquille O'Neal's house in Miami, and it was like $1.6 million. It had water fountains, it had palm tree rows of palm trees, it had like a helicopter pad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For like $1.6 million bucks, and then you get this happening where I don't know. I'm not trying to shame the house. I'm just trying to kind of put it in an angle where a perspective where it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the money that's coming in from other countries is going to dry up eventually, man.
It has to dry up because there's no endless supply. The water's going to dry up soon, especially with the tight restrictions they're putting on China's money that's leaving the country. Because China 3-4 months back was having a huge runoff on their currency. Their wealth was leaving the country at a massive rate.
Right, and it's just like the cost of housing just went up so fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing is, it's not worth that. Look at the rest of the world. Like even though we do have pretty good situation in Vancouver. You got water, mountains, stuff
Mm-hmm.
with where you can go to the States. Like, sure, it's a decent location, but it's not like 10 times normal price. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make sense. So anything that goes up this fast always crashes, right? I mean, look what happened to gold 10 years back. Like gold was really high, right? Then it came crashing down. Like there's going to be a correction, whether it's going to happen soon or whether it's going to happen later.
There is going to be a downturn very soon. So towards the end of the show, I did two options: either buy the $4.5 million house teardown, or buy the plane, the Camaro, and the minivan, and the yacht, and the house in Portugal for $3 million. What would you take?
The Portugal one, I think.
Yeah, you take the plane, the Camaro, because all that stuff together totals up to $3 million US, and that's hiring a pilot for a year and $40,000 in fuel.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. I'd definitely go that one.
Yeah, but people are getting into these $4.5 million teardowns, thinking I'm young, I could work, I'm married, my wife works 2 jobs, we could do this, we could pay this, but they're not paying it down. They're just slaves.
Oh, it's bad, man. It's real bad.
So I don't know where things are headed and why they're headed this way. So what do you think is gonna? So tell us what are you up to now?
When it's back, man, I'm going to work. Working. Nothing too crazy. Just watching your show right now. Jeff just said you're on TV and
Mm.
that you're having calls or something. So I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
why don't
people
I
call. Usually I get a few call-ins, but tonight I didn't get any call-ins. I just got this one. I'm like, whoa, someone's calling, and yeah, I just don't just it's really hard to it's like buying the '82 Volkswagen Scirocco for Lamborghini price, and that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah, well, how long have you been doing this thing, this show thing?
5 years.
No, you haven't.
Oh, I've been doing
the live show.
Oh, I haven't been going live in 5 years. No, I've been doing housing videos for the last 5 years. Yes.
I know that, but I mean the live thing where you can have people call in and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. Call-in started 2 weeks ago, and but I've been doing live for a long time now.
Right. Yeah. So the call-in thing, like you have to do this for a little. Like people don't know yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are you doing it on a schedule? Like I have.
Every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Tijuana time.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think it's gonna be good, man. You said it's good. You'll get more callers for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I got quite a few callers. Like last week, I got callers from Detroit. I got people calling in from New Zealand. I got people calling in because I covered the New Zealand housing crisis, right? Oh, can I ask your opinion on something?
Yeah, well, go ahead.
What do you think of the new Prime Minister in New Zealand banning foreign owners from buying in New Zealand?
Yeah, that's a weird one. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I understand why they did it. It's to protect the country from, same thing that's happening in Vancouver, basically, like pricing out the New Zealand people, right? So I understand that, but at the same time, like, completely banning seems maybe a little overboard. I don't know. I haven't really thought it through. What do you think about it, Mike?
I think it's a bold move, and I think this is going to create it's going to create more transparency to know whether or not it's foreign investing that's driving up the market, or if it's the low interest rates and the New Zealand proper buying up property left and right.
Right. Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's an interesting, I guess, experiment in that sense, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to happen.
I know a lot of people see that as a shock when they see that, and like, what? What?
Well, I think one of the problems here in Vancouver is that we have a lot of restrictions. It's like 90% of the country, the province, crown land, not even allowed to build on.
Crown land, yeah. Somebody mentioned that in the comment section last week when I went live.
Yeah.
Majority of it's
Like even though, and I've been driving around the whole not just Vancouver, I meant the interior. Like I'm driving up and down, going to Castlegar, going to Island, going to Powell River, right? I see all of these areas that are like, here's water, nice area, don't live there, maybe like find a house on the street or something, like, rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking like so much space. Like we're the second biggest country in the world. Yet, you can't just go in there and start building up areas that they don't like, right? Like,
yeah.
So I think part of the problem is the artificial scarcity from the government. I think that's one of the problems here.
Let me ask this. What if you subtracted the crown land? What do we have left for building like in Canada? If we subtract the crown land, how big is Canada then?
Canada's huge. We have so much area that no one lives. There's like a population of like 200. There's like all these little tiny like middle of nowhere places. Like there's so much space.
Mm-hmm. I know when you're flying over in an airplane, you're flying over Canada. It's so much land you fly over. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and we have fresh water. We have minerals. We have trees. We got food. We got there's hunting. There's fishing.
The problem we have is we don't have any more production like we used to. We're not producing. We're not fabricating. We're not exporting like we used to. And when we had that going on, the government would tax our wages and keep the economy afloat. Now, our economy is based off mortgages, student loans, unsecured loans, lines of credit, and unsecured debt.
Higher. Taxes are way too high, man. They're paying like more. Like when you combine all the different taxes and levies, people are paying 50%.
Yeah,
more.
you're talking about if you take the blended rate, right?
Yeah, like I'm talking about all the taxes.
Yeah, if you take a blended rate of all the taxes, you're at what, 52? Is it 53%?
Yeah, it's like 50% or more. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. So basically, you're working 6 months for the government.
Exactly. So I'm working 6 months out of the year for the government, and what do I get? I get a bunch of bullshit. You know? It's not worth it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
I'm gonna keep watching your show here, but keep going, man. I'll try to watch more often.
Yeah. Hey, let call in. You know, Monday I do usually Monday evening I do a rants and lifestyle show where we just talk about anything with open lines. And I know you're really good about politics and what's happening with the globe, what's happening in certain countries.
Sure, yeah, that sounds pretty good, man. You know, I'm libertarian, right? So I have a certain viewpoint, right? It may be a little bit different than a lot of people.
Yeah, I know you're a libertarian. That's why I want to have you on the show and see what you think.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, you know, I pay attention to major events and news stuff.
Of course. Yeah. You always keep me updated, which is good.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, cool, man.
We'll keep in touch. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And we'll keep in touch.
Have you talked about Bitcoin at all? That's a good one.
Have I talked about who?
Bitcoin.
Oh, no. We're talking about Bitcoin next week. Monday's show, we're talking about Bitcoin. I'll give you a heads up
blowing up, man. It's blowing up. If you haven't bought any, I would recommend buying it, even though it seems like maybe it's not a good idea right now because it's gone up so much. People think that when things go up, you should wait for it to come down and then buy it because otherwise you might lose or whatever. But you're not going to lose. Like anybody that buys it now, you're not going to lose. It's going to, because the thing is, there's a fork coming up, and that fork going to basically increase the supply, and it's going to cause the value to go up even further. Like now is a good time to buy. But anyway, we can talk about that next time.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on the next week's show. We'll do a whole Bitcoin segment. We'll have people call in, Bitcoin experts, and we'll just get a conversation going on what's going on with Bitcoin, how to buy it, how to sell it, how to use it, how to basically, we go over the basics. It's very important. You know, I've invested heavily in the stock market, in the weed market, but I'm doing really well.
But I would diversify, man. I would put like maybe 5% or maybe even just 3%, like a little bit into cryptocurrencies. Because honestly, man, that shit's exploding. Like 700% gain in the last year, man. No other stock you have is like, well, maybe some of your marijuana stocks, but most of your stocks I bet haven't grown 700%, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy, man. Anyways, we'll talk about it next time. I gotta go.
Thank you.
Keep watching.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, bye.
Anyways, that was my man Hiroshi. He's in some of my videos. If you look up my channel, you'll see him, what he looks like. Anyways, guys, watch the show from the beginning if you're just tuning in. Scroll it back. I got really good articles we go through. I want to thank everyone for supporting the show, sharing it, getting it out there. And do me a favor, we'll do call-ins on Monday. I'll do the rants and lifestyle. We'll just talk about what's happening, and we'll do a Bitcoin show just for you guys. Everyone's talking about Bitcoin. We'll have some people call in, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Big hug. Thanks to our syndicates who are picking up my stuff and using it. I appreciate it. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and get me out there. Thank you.